Hey guys, it's THAVASH here. I want to talk about today in this video the opportunity that lies before us in 2020 for crypto. What's going to happen to Bitcoin? What's happening with Ethereum? And what about altcoins? Should we even still be looking at altcoins? All that and more coming up right now. Okay guys, so at the end of 2019, a lot of exciting things are happening. Ethereum is just going crazy. We've got the Istanbul upgrade. We've got Ethereum 2.0 coming next year. What does that mean for the price of Ether? What does it mean in terms of market dominance? What's going to happen to Bitcoin? And should you still be looking at altcoins? And if you're investing, what type of mix do I recommend for the beginner? So let's tackle these three. Starting with point one, Bitcoin versus Ethereum. Now, this is such a big debate, and I find myself caught in the middle here. I now see on Twitter the Bitcoin maximalists attacking on a daily basis the Ethereum guys. I don't want to call them maximalists. And here's my take. There is so much happening on Ethereum. I love it. I actually called in a previous video Ethereum the #1 most exciting technological technological project of our time, the current period, this 2 to 3 year period. It's amazing. Once it really goes mainstream, smart contracts everywhere, the scaling comes right, we will see a change to business and society, don't get me wrong. And so I'm very excited about Ethereum. But some people and the Ethereum guys are now saying, okay, well, hang on, we've got all these developers, which is true. We've got all the activity. Just look at what's happening to DeFi. It's absolutely exploding. And you guys don't have any of that on the Bitcoin side. So what's going to happen to Bitcoin? Is it going to die? And I'm actually a guy that loves both. I'm a dual coiner, and it's not a cop-out. Because let me tell you why. I still believe that Bitcoin will be the world's reserve currency, the store of value, gold 2.0. And it's not a cop-out, because when you focus just on microeconomics and currency and payments, that's when you kind of think, well, it's not doing anything as a currency. It can't scale. We don't know if Lightning will work or not, the Lightning network. Pause. Take a step back. Just like you do with the Bitcoin chart, the price chart. People say you got to zoom out. You got to take a step back. When you look at macroeconomics, not microeconomics, you look at global trade, you look at balance of payments between countries, settlements, you look at something that is a beacon by which everything else is measured against in terms of value. That is why you need a store of value. A lot of people aren't talking about this right now. So for me, I love what's going on with Ethereum. It is the most exciting project from a technological perspective around right now in the early 2020s. But I still think that Bitcoin, with its supply cap, which is deflationary by nature, with its first mover advantage, number 2, and with its decentralization, has something to offer for the global economy, macroeconomics, international trade. I think it will be gold 2.0, that store of value that we're looking for. And I think both will be successful. So Ethereum, awesome. Bitcoin, still awesome. I'm one of the few, now after I'm saying this, I'm going to have no friends on either side. Hey, that's okay, that's fine. If you're watching this, you know where to invest. And at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about an investment strategy. So stay tuned for that. So let's talk about Ethereum now, before we go back to any of the other platforms. A lot of people thought that this Istanbul upgrade, which just happened now, December 2020, was Ethereum 2.0. That's actually not true. The Istanbul upgrade is actually the next step on that journey towards 2.0. The Istanbul upgrade brings us a lot of these EIPs, Ethereum Improvement Proposals. I think it's called that. And this is important because it's the on-chain enhancements that we have, and Ethereum seems to have more of these than anyone else. Things like efficiency. There was a proposal around less gas being used for under certain conditions. I'll set up some links. I'm also going to share a very important article from Vitalik. Vitalik wrote in 2014, I think it was about 10 or 15 challenges that blockchains face. And he's now updated it this year, in fact a few months ago. And he's almost put a KPI list. Where are we in the, what progress have we made in the last 5 years on those challenges? And it's interesting, the very first one that he's got there is scalability, and he's given it a green smiley face. He's got these green, orange, red faces just to indicate how much progress we've made. And he says scalability, in theory, we're there, we need to see it in practice. Vitalik also tweeted, and I'll put this up, that he thinks we can get to 3,000 transactions per second on Ethereum with the changes being made now post-Istanbul, right? That is just exciting. That's amazing. I actually tweeted that question to one of the Ethereum developers who goes by the name on Twitter of Anti-Pro-Synthesis. And I'm going to put a screenshot of that up now. And he replied and he said, well, whoa. We'll get there not just with the on-chain enhancements. We'll get there, that plus sharding, but it's not a linear thing. It's like when you have multiple CPU cores. There are a lot of considerations as to then how you're going to scale. You're not going to get, if you have a throughput of X or a level of performance of X with one core, you don't just go 2X with 2 cores. But it's happening. That is the main thing. So coming back to price, Ethereum at about $140. Man, we could be looking at, within a couple of years, that $5,000 mark. So, you need to think about that. You need to say, do I want to be a part of this? We can still mine right now. Once we go full 2.0, the beacon chain is the next step. When the beacon chain launches, that is the start of 2.0 and proof of stake, not Istanbul. And once that happens, guys, it's the start of the end to mining Ethereum. You can only buy it, and stakers will get staker rewards. You tell me what's going to happen to the price. Okay? So that's Ethereum. It's exciting. You should be a part of this journey. The next 2 years are going to be amazing for Ethereum, especially once the beacon chain launches. Make sure you're there. Bitcoin, I don't see it going away. You can talk about the dominance. The dominance might diminish. Bitcoin, you need to look at global macroeconomics, and it will play a massive role as a store of value, as an international settlement currency. The price of oil, I predict, will be measured in Bitcoin in the near future. Sometime in the decade, the 2020s, that's going to happen. Okay? And other commodities. The price of gold will have a Bitcoin value as well, and you'll see that regularly, depending on what happens with geopolitics. So that's Ethereum, and that's Bitcoin. The other opportunity, and I'm not going to give a price for Bitcoin, that's just ridiculous, but look at the videos from other guys on the 4-year cycle, and you'll see. The one thing I will say is that I think the cycles are getting flatter on Bitcoin. So the gradient, I'll put up a drawing that I did. I was responding to somebody on Twitter, and I said the cycles are getting flatter. Don't just think that in 2020 you're going to get $100,000. You're probably going to see a longer cycle going towards 2023, the end of 2023. And I'm not just pulling this out of thin air. If you analyze that chart since inception, you can see the cycles are getting flatter. So I'll actually put up a little picture that I drew. But there are pros out there on YouTube that do a more detailed mathematical analysis. I recommend you look at some of those, and maybe I'll put some links there as well. So we're looking at Ethereum going $140, so the most amount of activity on this blockchain platform, this smart contract platform, just to recap. And you're seeing DeFi already making waves. It's looking good. It's a safe bet. I'm saying, unlike these two camps that fight with each other, saying Bitcoin's not going to go anywhere as well. It's got first mover advantage, and it has this macroeconomic role to play. In future, I'll do a bit more videos. I did do one a few months back talking about some books you can read. Study Austrian economics, study supply side economics, study the history of gold and what gold meant to global economics. You don't buy a cup of coffee with gold. However, that doesn't mean that gold had no value. It's more important as a yardstick, as a store of value. Some people like to attack Bitcoin and say, you know what, store of value doesn't do anything, it just sits there. Well, what has gold been doing for the last few thousand years, right? Gold as a metal has some applications, good conductor. It's a barrier for heat. The McLaren F1 car famously used gold in the engine bay due to the heat shielding properties of it. Okay, Bitcoin doesn't have that because it's not physical. But that store of value is the primary reason gold was valuable. It was a yardstick. So Bitcoin's not going to go anywhere. Those are those two. Let's talk about altcoins. And then just to end this video, let's talk about an investment strategy, if you're new. So with altcoins, it's your big gamble. You may have a hot tip. You may believe in a certain project. From my perspective, I made a video a while back saying at the next high, you probably want to dump some of these altcoins where you've made an investment. The reason I say that is because it's quite clear right now that there isn't enough money in the world to pump into the market cap of all of these projects. Some of these projects, even if they have good fundamentals, are going to fail, okay? And you should be ready for that. If you did invest in a blockchain platform because you believed in it, but now you're having second doubts, I'm not going to name names, track the next high. Some of these may have a next high in 2020 or 2021. The one event that could spur that on, this is the important piece, is with all the activity on Ethereum, Ethereum is due for a breakout. Watch the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio, right? I did say that is severely undervalued. I called the bottom at 0.016. It's now at 0.02. It's tremendously unvalued. Just looking at the activity and what's happening with decentralized finance, let alone what's to come, decentralized healthcare, decentralized legal contracts, all types of smart contracts that will be built in the next 24 months on Ethereum. So that ratio, that dominance is set to change. The one thing I will agree with the Ethereum crowd when they talk to the Bitcoin crowd is that the value of Ethereum compared to Bitcoin is going to change. Ethereum will be more valuable and stronger. That ratio will change. Coming back to the title of this video, the big opportunity for you is that if you invest in Ethereum, its value, not just as opposed to the US dollar, but to Bitcoin, is going to go up. And that'll bring me now, I think it's a good time to talk about the investment strategy. So, for many years, I've said that the two safe bets are Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I looked at a 40-40-20% strategy. If you have money to invest, and this is not financial advice, this is just a strategy for getting into crypto. Right? I'm going to make that very clear. If you have investments that you want to do, you want a dollar cost average, that's always recommended. 40% into Bitcoin, 40% into Ethereum, 20% into the altcoin platform of your choice. Will you miss out on the next big thing? Potentially, because we don't know if there's an altcoin project sitting there that's just ready to break out. We don't know. Could be. There's an altcoin project that could be bigger than Bitcoin or Ethereum. The problem is the average person doesn't have the time to track all of these things on a daily basis. So right now, there's plenty of activity in Ethereum. It looks to be a safe bet, number one. Number two, Bitcoin has these inherent advantages: first mover advantage, store of value, it's anti-inflationary, limited supply. It looks like it will be gold 2.0. It looks like it will be the international yardstick. Pretty safe bet. With that 20%, you pick the project that you want. But remember, you could lose that. In fact, you could lose all the money you put into crypto. Just want to make that clear. But now there's another opportunity I want to present to you. Whether you favor Bitcoin or you favor Ethereum, there's an opportunity with buying Ethereum. Ethereum is severely undervalued right now at 0.02 Ethereum per 0.02 Bitcoin per 1 Ether coin. That's a ratio that's going to change over the next 24 months. That ratio, I predict, will change over the next 12 months. So what does one need to do? If you look at that 40-40-20 split that I'm proposing, that 40-40, that 80%, I recommend you split that 3 ways. Okay? 1/3 into Ethereum, another third into Bitcoin, depending on how you view those two platforms. But another third I recommend putting into Ethereum with the aim of converting it to Bitcoin for a profit, because that Ethereum ratio is going to go up from 0.202, it's going to go to 0.04. That's an easy prediction. Whether it will go higher, it looks like it will go higher than that as well. The Ethereum maximalists are saying it will reach 0.1. One Ether coin will be worth 0.1 Bitcoin in the near future. What does that mean to you? So let's do a little bit of mathematics. If you buy an Ether coin at 0.02, which is at the time of shooting this video, that is what it is worth. Okay? The Bitcoin price is 8,000. You could have taken that money, $140, and bought Bitcoin at an equivalent price of $8,000. But let's say you invest in Ethereum, and Ether, the value goes to 0.04. That value is effectively doubled against Bitcoin. If you then swap it out for the equivalent Bitcoin, you've effectively bought that Bitcoin for $4,000 if the value of Bitcoin was 8,000 at the time of buying. It sounds a little complex, which is why I've created an equation which I call it my equation, THAVASH'S equation, right? Just shows you the time of buying, what the net price of Bitcoin is. You're buying Ethereum at this ratio, and then if you sell that Ether for Bitcoin at this ratio, this is the effective Bitcoin price that you get. That is, for me, the biggest opportunity right now, and I highly recommend, whether you're an Ethereum fan or a Bitcoin fan, that you stop the fight. The fight doesn't really help us, right? This massive fight that we're seeing on Twitter now, I'm just staying out of that for now because I like both platforms and I don't want to miss out on the opportunity. Okay, Bitcoin may not ever be a decentralized platform, but Ether may or may not be a global store of value for global trade and economics and for settlements between large entities, right? So play that ratio, and that's your biggest value. So just to recap on the video, the opportunity as we go into 2020. Number one, Ethereum is fantastic. It's successful already in my mind with DeFi. It's got the most amount of activity, the most amount of developers. The improvements are moving along. The Istanbul upgrade was successful. The nodes are being upgraded. We're on our way to Ethereum 2.0 and the beacon chain. This is great news, and it's a safe bet to invest in. And I think that $140 price, the dollar value of the Ether token right now, is undervalued. The ratio of the Ether token to Bitcoin is undervalued, and it's an opportunity to put some funds there that you would have as opposed to buying Bitcoin directly. Play that ratio and you're going to get the Bitcoin for half price, a third of the price. If that ratio goes to 0.1 and you buy Bitcoin, you buy Ethereum at 0.02 and that ratio goes to 0.1, you swap it out for Bitcoin, you would have got that Bitcoin at 1/5 of the price. Look at my equation if this doesn't make sense, but you're going to get, if Bitcoin price eventually goes to $10,000, you're going to get $2,000 Bitcoin if you do that. And then Bitcoin, the third opportunity, will be a global store of value, a yardstick against which other currencies are measured, commodities are measured, settlements are done. Everything will be measured against Bitcoin in the future, barring some catastrophe, right? Quantum computing breaks the encryption. I don't know. Some issue is found on the blockchain. Hasn't been found in about 10 years. Okay, so it looks good, but we don't know that. Barring some catastrophe, Bitcoin is going to be this global yardstick against which everything else is measured, including Ethereum, including commodities, including other fiat currencies and other electronic or cryptocurrencies that nation states will eventually have to cave in and actually launch themselves. But everything gets measured in Bitcoin. What the US dollar was in the 20th century, Bitcoin will be in the 21st century. You don't want to miss out on that action. And then there's the third opportunity, the altcoin of your choice. I kind of think privacy coins have a big opportunity due to the inherent privacy nature of the two. Like Monero, and Zcash as well. Vitalik likes Zcash. He tweets about it. He says he's got $40,000 worth of Zcash and he's holding on to it. But there's a lot of controversy there that I won't get to in this video. There's that. You might want to look at other smart contract platforms. If the Chinese government says we want to make Neo the Ethereum killer, you can't ignore that. China is a big, important country. The next superpower. So you can't ignore that. I'll leave it with those two. You do your own research there, but I'm saying allocate a piece of your investment towards that. Okay, so guys, I covered a lot in this video. I'm going to do a lot of links to support what I'm saying. I hope you enjoyed this short video and I hope it makes sense. This is the opportunity now at the end of 2019 that you should not miss out on. And if you're thinking of investing in crypto, this is how I look at it. I'll see you soon. Leave me some comments and I hope you enjoyed this video. See you guys soon.